First, though, let's bring in my Sky News colleagues in Canberra. Our chief anchor, Kieran Gilbert, and political editor, Andrew Clennell, join us now. Kieran, that wraps up the parliamentary week. We saw today the coalition targeting the government in question time over energy prices. More broadly, how do you think the opposition's performed over this first fortnight of the new parliament?
Yeah, pretty good actually. I've got to say, Susan Lee, I think, has done quite well. Not to discount what the Prime Minister said. They're having a lot of fun with the Sky News coverage. Great to see that he and other members of the Cabinet are watching Sky News as regularly as they do. And a shout out to Laura Jays and her excellent program the other day when she had Barnaby Joyce in the David Littleproud in the studio, and Barnaby Joyce and co were out the front, the split screen for the split party, but that hasn't been pretty for the coalition for sure. But I think Susan Lee personally, given where they are, has done as well as you could expect. And I think today, in terms of the energy prices focus, there's a view within the coalition that the government was a bit too arrogant off the back of that inflation number, that people are still hurting when it comes to energy. And when you look at this question I'll play for you now, think about it as a medium-term play as well, Ash, in a sense, because I think they're laying the foundations and the groundwork for when those government rebates come off down the track as well. Here's a little of Susan Lee.
Can the Prime Minister explain why 63,000 more Australian families are on hardship assistance arrangements for their power bills today than on the day Labor took office 3 years ago?
One of the things that my government's done, of course, is introduce energy bill relief. 3 lots of energy bill relief, all of which were opposed by those opposite. The second thing that we have done as a government, I'm asked about last term, was to intervene in the gas and coal market to put a cap on prices. That was a very significant intervention.
The question was, why are more families struggling? In outlining these actions, the Prime Minister seems to be confirming that he caused this, but not explaining why families are struggling.
The batteries program that began on July 1 has already been taken up by 18,000 households. And on May the 3rd, of course, there was an alternative to the government's plan, because the alternative was the nuclear plan.
Order.
The former leader went nowhere near any of the sites. I wonder if the current leader takes up the opportunity to visit.
Minister, what is the average monthly household power bill today, and what was it when Labor took office 3 years ago?
It varies from state to state. In New South Wales, the average household price today is $127.72. The average at election was $320.48. In Queensland, the average today is $107.39. The average at Queensland was average on election day was $347.28. In South Australia, the average today is $185.27. The average on election day was $312.30. I was asked a question, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, Ash, because it's been a point of weakness for the coalition, that point of internal tension on net zero, but they're trying to turn it into a point of strength as well on energy prices. And in that medium-term play that I mentioned, also keep in mind the 2035 target that the government's got to articulate in the next couple of months too. So setting the foundation for their response on that one as well. Interesting in question time, though, no focus from either of the major parties. No questions on the issue of Palestine, which is dominating much coverage outside of the parliament, including on Newsday a bit earlier with Michael McCormack, who told me that he believes that France, the UK and Canada are being premature in their recognition of Palestine and are rewarding Hamas.
You don't always have to follow suit. It's not always necessary to follow suit. My mother always said, if somebody puts their head in the oven, you don't have to go and do it as well. And we should not be rewarding Palestine, Hamas. They're still run by a terrorist organisation. Let's be brutally honest.
What do you think of Australia's position?
Well, let's not prematurely reward Hamas.
Do you think those countries have done that? They've prematurely rewarded?
Absolutely, they have.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm going to be looking at this issue a little closer with a guest shortly, but interesting to see the US President Donald Trump has weighed in on that as well, obviously thinking it's a terrible idea from Canada.
Let's have a look at this tweet, this statement on Truth Social. Donald Trump saying if you recognise Palestinian statehood to Canada, you won't get a trade deal. Food for thought for Anthony Albanese travelling to the US. In question time, Jim Chalmers put more flesh on the bones of the productivity roundtable, saying he'll be using ideas for it in the budget, which isn't due till next May. Let's have a listen to that.
We do not expect there to be a unanimous view of everyone who comes to the roundtable. Of course not. It would be pointless if that was the case. And we don't expect to solve every single problem in our economy in 3 days. Some of these problems have been building for 3 decades, Mr Speaker. But we do expect the roundtable to help set some general directions, to pitch up specific ideas, and there'll be more work for the government to do after the roundtable and in advance of the next budget.
And Energy Minister Chris Bowen took a while to back in the renewable energy target of the government by 2030 in answer to a question from Dan Tehan. They're putting the pressure on power bills and renewable energy, but eventually he did back it in. It took some minutes.
Will the minister confirm that the government will meet its renewable energy target of 82% by 2030?
I can absolutely confirm it is this government's intention to continue to work towards that target in 2030, absolutely. And I'm pleased to tell the honourable member that we are making very good progress towards it. It is 2025 and we are working towards that 2030 target and we're making good progress.
Andrew, Kieran, thank you so much for your analysis. Appreciate that as the parliamentary week wraps up. Thank you very much.